Okay, so Cogary Data. So this is taking multiple features of a data set and plotting them together to make a new statistic. So this is showing the stats from the 2008 NFL season, all of the different properties that the teams acquire through the course of the season, and showing them, this is the small multiples technique. You've got this triangular layout, and you're selecting each cell is the X and Y axis are the cells that they intersect with. So this top left one is the team's rank and the team's number of points they've scored over the season. And done the correlation coefficients to figure out what the relationship was between those variables. And what you find out is there's a strong negative correlation between a team's rank and the number of points that they scored. And that makes sense. If the team scored more points, they probably won more games, and they're going to have a lower rank. One, obviously, being a lower rank when you might actually say rank higher. But that's the case there. And then you have your strong positive correlation. So you have, let's pick a bright one. Passing yards and passing first down attempts. If the team is actually driving the ball more, or rather moving the ball forward more while passing it, then obviously, yes, there should be a relationship between how many times they get a first down successfully. So you can see here, so this is again taking advantage of using area to show a visualization. So you can maximize the amount of information that you're throwing at the eye. So I can pick out any one of these and start to dig into the information there. And so how about if you don't want to necessarily do the relationships between things, but you want to do multiple features. This is a relatively new visualization. This was developed in the 90s by Ben Schneiderman. And the idea behind the tree map is you're taking the area of the screen and dividing it into different slices, each slice representing a different object in the data set that you're studying, where the area represents some variable. So in this particular implementation, this is a hard disk analyzer. We actually use this when we start to fill up our disks with travel time data and all that, and find the log files that we need to throw out this way, find out the big ones and zip them up and move them somewhere else. So the idea here is area is file size, and color is used to show file type. And you can see absolutely immediately in this visualization that this big blue piece here is a video file. And that's not particularly surprising because video files are ginormous. It's taking up a big part of this guy's disk. So maybe that's something he wants to do. And then you have at the bottom there, that's actually, it's a little hard to see in the image. That's actually lots and lots and lots of tiny squares, but they're all that green color. And that represents images, which, kind of intuitive. Maybe this guy takes a lot of photos. They're not particularly large, but he has a lot of them. And then that teal one there, that represents some sort of system file that you can't touch. You can go through and kind of explore your disk in a different way and really get into which files are taking the most space as well. There's another example I want to show here. This is a pretty popular one. The map of Wall Street, basically, how the stocks are doing during a particular day. Obviously it's Sunday, so this is what things look like at the end of the day on Friday. So everything is sectioned off into regions by the industry that they reflect. And those regions are sized based on how much of the total market that that region reflects. So you have transportation, or transport rather, that's a relatively small thing when compared to telecommunications and healthcare. And then those sections are further divided into individual companies. So I can roll over and see how individual companies perform. So there's Exxon right there, or Goldcorp. I don't know what this basic materials, I don't know what Goldcorp is. They did well. So you're using color to vary the performance of the stock. So we can see at a glance, even though this is a really small cell, because the color stands out, the bright green on the red, we can tell immediately that is something that performed particularly well that day. I just did a Google image search for Matty Market. Pretty much everything that came back was from that particular pool. You can see some pretty significant days. This is 2008, September 29th, which was the day things kind of fell apart. But then if you look at this visualization, that's the next day. Obviously, everyone was kind of in turmoil on that on the day before, but then stocks tend to rebound a little bit when there's kind of a failing like that. So I thought that was interesting. I just did a search here and rolled over those two because they looked the most interesting. It's just funny that they ended up being the 2 consecutive days there. So you just at a glance, you can tell from a tree map what properties you want to look at. What properties of the visualization you can see.